Hey, my name is Ryan, and today I'm doing an update on these Truman Coyote Roughout boots that I think have about 1,000 miles on them. Why do I think this boot right here was peak boot? What do I think about the newer Truman boots that I have compared to it, and how this boot became an inspiration for something special? So thank you so much for watching. Please enjoy the video. Now this is going to be more of a casual style video, just going over these boots, what I think is so amazing about them, and kind of looking at the leather and how they've aged. So this Coyote Roughout is one of Truman's cheaper leathers, one of the more inexpensive leathers, and you can still buy a Coyote Roughout cap toe boot from Truman right now for like, I think in the 300s, it's 390. But this boot right here, this particular one is so special to me, and I think it represents a time in the boot world where we were getting the absolute best at the best cost for a made in America boot. And what I'm talking about is when Truman did their stitch down, I mean, it was a steal. When you think about it, when you compare it to the Vibergs and the other North American made boots that are giving you this type of quality, this was a special time to be into boots. And this boot to me is kind of like the peak aesthetic for a boot. Unstructured toe, rough out leather, double row stitch down. And some of you will know I'm working on a project right now, and this boot right here was a huge inspiration to that special project. Now, I'm not recreating this boot, that's not what I'm saying, but this boot and some of the elements that it had are some things I just wish you could really get right now, and that's the project that I am working on. But let's look at this boot. The Coyote Roughout really has aged beautifully. I mean, it's got dark spots, but that just looks amazing. The patina is amazing. Never had boot trees. You have some flocking on the shaft of the boot, helping you see kind of the denim flocking. That will always happen with these lighter rough out boots, but I mean, I just love these boots so much. And I love the Truman Boot Company because they were able to build this boot in the US for around $400. And when you compare this to the boots that they're building right now, you can still get something very similar. Now, it's not going to be the double row stitch down. It's going to be a welted boot, but for some, they prefer a welted boot. So it has the cork layer, you know, it's something that they might like even more. So Truman is just like a special boot company. I really think if you're into made in the US, now you know me, I like all sorts of different types of companies. I don't mind made in China. I don't mind made in India. I mean, basically, if it's a cool boot, it's a cool boot. But if you're really into the made in the USA aspect of a heritage boot, you really need to support Truman. I mean, and I really, really believe in that. If you want a made in the USA boot company to continue, support Truman. Now, Red Wing, you know, they're doing their thing with their, you know, injection molded boots made in Vietnam, and their heritage style is not what's making them money. They're probably losing money on their heritage style, and the cheaper stuff is making them more. But, you know, as of right now, as of in the US, this is the boot to get. Now, if you want stitch down, it's not going to happen. But I mean, if you don't mind the welted construction of their normal boots now, this is the boot to get. Now, you don't get the name brand soles like you used to get with Truman, at least the day night, and I think it's like an It's Hide or something with their studded sole, but right now you get the proprietary, but their proprietary stuff that they're making right now on their welted boots, it's really good stuff. It's not junk that they're just putting on the boot for the cheapest price. They're really providing you with some amazing stuff. They still do the contrasting tongue, which I think is great. Now this was a little thin, but I love that. I'm not a rugged boot guy, so that's kind of the reason why I don't have a ton of modern day Trumans, because to me, the modern day Truman and how the 79 lasts, which this was made on the 79 lasts, but how it comes together in a welted form, it's just a little bit more rugged of a boot. While this unstructured with the day night and the stitch down, it gives it just a little bit sleeker of a boot. And I'm just not a rugged guy. I can't really pull off that rugged of a look. If I'm gonna wear a rugged boot, it's gonna be to hike. It's gonna be to do something, you know, semi-rugged in my opinion. I do not work in my boots. So this is a perfect boot that you can kind of dress up for the office. But I do love modern Truman boots. And I know some people complain about the owner of Truman Boots, Vince, and I don't know. I don't have time to worry about the owners of these companies unless they were doing terrible things. If it's Vince or if it's a Chinese company or it's an Indian company, as long as they're, I mean, it's not child labor or doing something really ethically wrong, I don't have time to like care about their politics and care about their opinions on things. Truman is going to be giving you an awesome boot made in the USA at an awesome value, really, in my opinion. But yeah, just an amazing boot. The double row stitch down looks amazing. I wish Truman could bring this back. It is just perfect to me. When I wear this boot, I love unstructured toes. So that's something kind of in my older age now I've really come to love. Now, it might be because my first introduction to boots, not Goodyear welted boots or good quality boots, but it was on a construction site as a carpenter, and you had to have metal plate in the sole, you had to have steel toe, and it just, on a size 13 foot with a big old steel toe, you had this huge clown foot that I had. But so I think in my older age, now that I work in an office setting and I don't really do any like really manual labor stuff, I love having the unstructured toe. It just gives it a sleeker look. It looks a little bit more unassuming. And remember, my break into good quality shoes and boots was Allen Edmonds. So I used to have their dress shoes, and I love their dress shoes, and I love their welted dress shoes with the veg tan insoles. But now I don't have to wear those as much, and I get to wear some funner stuff. So I rock around boots because I just think they look so cool. But to be honest with you, I could probably do everything I need to do in just like a cheap sneaker. I just wear these because I feel like they're more comfortable, and when they break in, they feel like a leather sock. And that's what I'm getting at. I love the unstructured, but a little bit rounder of a toe. Now, this isn't a sleek toe, and it's really not a Munson-like toe at all on the 79, but I just think that looks amazing. It comes together so nicely, and it just makes for an awesome boot. And when it comes to the construction and quality of Truman, nothing has changed with the uppers besides the stitch down, and it's just flawless. I mean, look how much wear these soles have. I mean, these are ready to be resoled. They're completely, I mean, they are down to almost breaking through to the midsole right at this point. But look how perfect everything has held together. I mean, not a single loose stitch. These boots are flawless and will last for, man, I mean, I don't want to say forever because nothing lasts forever. The condition of the leather will eventually, someday, 100 years from now, break down. But this is all you need in a boot. Like, Truman is giving you all you need because the quality is there. It's awesomely put together. It's made in the US. It's supporting the US economy. Now, if you don't care about US stuff, there's amazing boots made elsewhere, like I've said, but look how awesome these things are put together. They're just, these have another 4 resoles in them. I don't know. I'm just like being over dramatic now. I really like these boots. I think they're amazing. I think Truman has proven that they can build one of the best boots you can buy now. And if you're into their style, if you're into the rugged 79 last or the 56 last, which is their casual last, or their 20, which is their work last, I'm sorry, the 59 is their dress, 79 is their casual, and the 20 is their work. I hate that. I don't like that. It should just be their numbers. Sorry, that was a side rant. But if you're into those lasts, now the modern iterations of those lasts don't fit, or actually I haven't had a 20, so I shouldn't say that, but the 79 and the 59, they just don't fit my foot great. So I have Truman boots, but they're just not my favorite because now I really look for the fit. Now this 79 in the stitch down, for some reason, fits my foot excellent, and so I just love them. And my really only gripe about this whole boot, to me, this is like a perfect boot. And if you could, I would just buy this boot in a bunch of different leathers, right, to get different styling. But the only major gripe I have, and this isn't a big thing at all, most people won't care about this, but it's kind of how thick the waist is. I do love like a Red Wing number 8 last, right, where it's a really thin waist. It's kind of a thin heel, thin waist, and then the round forefoot. And this one is just a little bit thicker, which is not a big deal. It's minutia, but I would prefer a little bit thinner of a waist. Now I have like kind of a C width foot, so that would probably just be because of my C width foot. So if you could get a Truman boots in a C width, I'd probably go, 12.5 C. It'd probably be the perfect boot. But I've had a hard time sizing Truman. I recommend if you buy one of their newer boots unstructured, that you should go a half size up or true to Brannock. But I'm 12.5 on the Brannock. These are a 12.5. They fit perfectly. I've had structured Trumans that are 12s. They fit right, but if I get an unstructured, it has to be 12.5. So just keep that in mind. I always recommend going a half size up if you get an unstructured toe, because that toe is going to start to collapse and there's just nothing there to kind of keep your toes from jamming into the front. So just go a half size up if you're into unstructured stuff. I just love this boot. I think it's amazing. I think we should support Truman. I think they're still doing amazing stuff, even though they're not creating this boot. My dream would be that they would create this style again, the same exact older 79 last with the stitch down. This is peak boot to me. It doesn't get much better than this. I am a US citizen. I like that when you buy US made goods, it helps my work, really, because it just helps my local economy. This would be the peak boot for me with that double row stitch down. I just think it looks awesome. So let me know if you have any questions about this boot. Let me know if you want to see anything more on this. Just let me know. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you who watches, and I really appreciate the comments. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one.